Hi guys, and welcome back to TNT Aquatics. In today's video I wanted to go through angelfish breeding. Quite a short video, but I've got a few angelfish at different stages. So I just wanted to run through, for any of you guys, I know angelfish are really popular in the hobby. And I know some people can struggle quite a lot with hatching them out, bringing them on as regulars, and then getting them through as young fry as well. So I just thought I'd put a video together, a full in-depth dive if you like, with some hacks, tips and tricks just to get your fry surviving. So without further ado, I'll swing the camera around and we'll get started. Okay guys, so this video is all about angelfish. You can see here I wanted to catch these pair, especially the breeding tube there. You can see protruded right out on the female there. That is a sure sign to sex. The female's tube comes right out. These guys have literally just laid onto a cone. I've removed the cone now because the male was starting to peck away at the eggs, but you can see the male is quite a pointed tube. I'm trying to get a good picture of him, but that is the male there. For your reference here, he's going to come right up to the camera now to try and chase us away. But guys, around breeding time is the only time you really see these parts on the fish, but you can see the female there. It's not as pointy, it's more of a tube, and that is what you're looking for. Also, obviously the female now is nice and thin, however before she was absolutely bulging with eggs, so that's one thing to look out for as well. So yeah, that's how to sex your angelfish. Obviously, if you catch them, if you're lucky enough to catch them in the act as well, you'll be able to see the female laying the eggs and then the male going up and fertilising straight after her. So yeah, it's a really nice thing to see. So that's the adults. Let's move on to the next stage now. Okay guys, the next stage is the adults will lay all their eggs on a breeding cone. Myself and Tim like to use these cones. They're quite heavy. If you do use the lighter ones, they do tend to knock them over, so just make sure you get a good quality weighted one. And you can see they're in a blue tank here. Tank is full of blue, and that is because I fill this tank up with methylated blue. And that's it there, King British if you're in the UK. This is the exact stuff I use, and you can see, where's the directions, so 1 milliliter per 9 litres. This is a 25 litre tank, so I added just over 2 mil into this tank, and you can see the colour you get in the tank. It's quite a dark blue colour. The next thing I add to the tank is an air stone. I've turned it down for the purposes of this camera, but I will adjust it right now to show you what I usually have it at. And it's about there guys, not extreme flow, but enough to wash nice clean water over these eggs. Now what you're doing here is basically mimicking what the parents are going to be doing. If you're lucky enough to have angels that look after their own eggs, mine don't, mine eat their eggs, but if you're lucky enough, you'll see both the male and the female will spend the next few days fanning the eggs with their fins, and this is what we're replicating here with the air stone. Obviously the benefit of the air stone is it's a consistent freshwater supply over the eggs, whereas the adults themselves, you can see like they'll go away and maybe go chasing for a bit of food or whatever. So there is periods where the eggs aren't being fanned by the adults. So these eggs will stay as they are for probably, depending on your water temperature, for around about between 2 to 4 days. They will be on the cone here, and you won't actually see much. What will happen, and in my experience it always happens, is some of the eggs will not have been fertilised by the male, and what you'll notice is these eggs will start turning white. Now, if you didn't have the methylene blue in the tank, what you run the risk of is that fungus that goes into the egg can spread to the whole batch. So that is what this blue antiseptic treatment does, is it prevents the fungus from spreading from one bad egg to the rest of your good eggs. So it's a really critical step to add in the methylene blue into your tank. One thing that I do around about day 2 or 3, is I'll drop the water level in this tank. And what I'll do is I'll drop it right to where the top of the cone is. I'll leave the cone completely submerged, however the water will be just above the cone. And the reason for this is, as the eggs start hatching out and you end up with little wrigglers, they will stay wrigglers for a couple of days, but then on their maiden voyage, if you like, they need to get up to the top of the tank to fill their swim bladders with air. They need to take that gulp of air in at the start of their life, so it's critical that the water level is as low as you can get it in the tank. I've found that the level above the cone there is absolutely fine. Some people, I guess, might put the cone on their sides, but I've not found that makes any difference. Okay guys, so that is the egg and cone / wriggler stage. What I'll go on to now is once they start becoming free swimming as small fry. Okay guys, I wanted to show you this cone. I've just literally taken it out of the water, but this kind of proves what I was saying a minute or two ago. You can see these white eggs here have not been fertilised properly by the male, and you can actually see how gunked up and white they get. And that is basically just bacteria and fungus feeding on that empty yolk or that unfertilised egg. And you can see with the amount of slime and whatnot around that, if that wasn't treated with the methylene blue, you could see how quickly that would spread, because you can actually see the outline of the successful eggs that have been on this cone, and you can see the slime ring around these unfertilised eggs is already gone in, and then it would just be like a chain reaction, guys. It would just keep going through all the eggs. So I can't stress enough how critical the methylene blue is. Okay, this is a second cone now, and you can see the same story on this one. And you can actually see there is bits even floating around from the unsuccessful eggs. So what we end up, let me just turn this air stone off so you can see a little bit better. That was the wrong tap. There we go, there's the right one. Okay, so hopefully you can see there, guys, there is literally a cloud of angelfish there, and they're all the way over the floor. You can see hopefully straight away their little bellies are absolutely full of brine shrimp, and that is what you're aiming for, guys. It's super important to keep these well fed at this early stage. Where people don't succeed is they think that they can just get away with feeding these fry like your normal fish tank, you know, once a day, small pinch. These fry need properly heavily fed. You can see all the wasted food on the bottom here. However, these guys will be going and munching on that as and when they can, and as providing you've got a cycled filter in here, you've got the cycled cones that have come from the parents' tanks, that surface area will be absolutely full of beneficial bacteria. So I don't actually worry too much about any ammonia spikes. Plus the size of these fry, it's such a small load on the system. I've never had any issues, but certainly, guys, don't worry about overfeeding. There is so many mouths to feed in this tank that you know, you'll very quickly start losing fry if you don't feed enough in here. So yeah, absolutely critical, the feeding. As you can see, the water level in this tank is still low. That was the water level that I was on about, that I take it to. You can see it's just above the top of the cone there. And regular water changes in this tank as well, guys. I change the water in this tank every 2 to 3 days. Nice fresh water is going to help these guys out a lot. And obviously, as they become a little bit stronger, these will be getting split into larger tanks. The key here is fresh water, plenty food, and space to swim is critical. All these guys that are free swimming now, even although they are on the bottom, they've already been up to the top, they've taken their gulp of air, they've filled up their swim bladder now, and they're just doing their thing, feeding up and growing in size. And that is the main thing you want for your fry. You want to get them up out of this critical stage as quickly as you can. So food. Recommend brine shrimp. I've got the Zis hatcheries. They're absolutely brilliant. I have 2 on the go at the same time. You can tell this one is ready, and this one is all my lights are turning off here. This one I just prepared today, but that gives me a supply of brine shrimp the whole time, which is critical for your fry. The other thing I would suggest is First Bites. I'll just grab the packet. Let me see here. So here it is. Here it's from Hikari, First Bites. And when your angelfish first hatch out, they won't be able to take the brine shrimp quite on day one. Pretty soon they will do, but this stuff, let me open the packet and show you. It's absolutely a really fine powder, and they just seem to do really well on this stuff. So I'll just show you in there. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it's like drinking chocolate powder, guys. That's what it resembles. So good stuff. Okay, let me sort the lights out and I'll come back to you. Okay guys, got the lights sorted out. That was a bit of a pain. They all go off at 5 o'clock. They're on a timer. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. So I just wanted to conclude, guys. The main things are to feed and prime your adult fish. They get fed brine shrimp as well as some high protein foods. So I quite like this one. It's a high growth granule, high protein content. I also use on my angelfish the bug bites, tropical formula. I give them also a squirt of brine shrimp every day, and that's what gets them primed, ready for breeding. So once they lay their eggs on the cone, you need to remove that cone pretty sharpish, because if you've got naughty angels like I do, they'll start eating their eggs pretty quickly. It's a fine line now, because you don't want to take the cone away too early, because the male will go back and fertilise the cone further. So kind of just keep an eye if you're around, obviously, which I am most of the time. Just keep an eye on what's going on, and if the two of them look to be completely finished and they're not really showing any more signs running up and down the cone fertilising the eggs, then that's the point that you want to lift it. Once you lift the cone, get it into a separate tank. A tiny small tank will do. I put mine in a 25 litre, but you could go even smaller. I'm putting 2 cones at a time in my 25 litre. Get your methylene blue in. Super important stuff, I'll show you again. King British. This bottle lasts absolutely ages as well, because you're only using 2 ml at a time for a 25 litre tank. And then plug in an air stone and make sure that your flow is going up over the mass of eggs as best as you can get it. And then it's just a waiting game. 2, 3, 4 days, depending on your tank temperature, you'll start to see wrigglers, little tails will pop out the eggs, and you'll start seeing them wobbling about and wriggling about. At that point, you want to drop your water level down to just above the cone, the breeding cone, in preparation for the fry starting to free swim. And remember, they need to get up to the top of the water to take that initial gulp of air. And then after that, guys, it's just feed as much as you can. Now, don't do massive feeds and think you can do one massive feed a day and that'll do them. That's not the case. It's small feeds regularly is the key. That's what you want to do. And another thing, I showed you the Hikari first bites. I also make my own food, and it's just in this little pot. But I use a food processor blender, and you can see how fine that is. And all I do is use that high protein pellets, as well as some other like bug bites and stuff like that. It's all high in protein, and I just grind that right up with one of these, you know, like the NutriBullets or whatever you get for doing smoothies and stuff like that. That's what I use, and that gets fed to the fry as well. So once your fry are being heavily fed, keep an eye on them. What you're looking for is their tummies to be nice and full. It almost looks like they're going to explode. That is a good thing. That's what you want pretty consistently through the day. Don't worry about night time. Once the lights go off, they'll be fine, but you want to be feeding first thing in the morning when the lights come back on. And then it's just a case of moving them about as they grow. Obviously, you'll have a lot of fry, hopefully, if you follow these instructions, and you won't have a high mortality rate. But then, of course, you're going to have to deal with 200 or 300 fry, and you need tank space for that. Luckily, here we've got plenty of options. So some of them will be going into the big 160 litre, and then others will be going into some of the 54 litre tanks as well, and Tim might end up with some as well round at his. So it's just dispersing the fry as best you can. Hope you found this helpful. Please, if you have found it helpful, smash the like button, give us a subscribe, even comment if you have found something that works for you, maybe different from what I've said. Leave a comment. All these things, guys, any interaction at all with the videos helps me and Tim out loads. So if you could do that would be really great. But until the next time, guys, hope you're all keeping well, and we'll speak to you next time. Bye.